Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing today? Especially after this Aquarian full moon, super moon, seasonal blue moon. Reason why it's a blue moon, and being called a seasonal blue moon, as opposed to, I guess, a regular calendar blue moon, is because typically we'll have, excuse me, three blue moons. Excuse me, three full moons within every single season, and this summer we have four full moons. So that's why it's being called. And on top of it, because it's so close, it's a super moon, and yeah, it was. And we had beautiful cloudless skies last night, totally clear, and most definitely. Um, it was spectacular. I did get a chance to see the moonrise, um, a little bit, and it was really amazing. And yeah, I couldn't help myself with seeing it throughout the night. A couple times I had to do some howling. I don't care what people think or say or anything. It's like, you know what? I'm going to let my inner wild child out and come out and play. I don't care. So, anyway, yeah, she's decided that she wants to be in the video, at least for a while. So, it gives you all a chance to see her because I know a lot of you have subscribed just so you can have a chance to see her. So, and yeah. Oh, I know. Let's see here. There we go. That's better. Oh my goodness. Getting some belly rubs. Oh, she loves her belly rubs. As you can tell, she's just all, oh, rub my tummy. I know. She's such a precious baby. I love her to pieces. And she knows it. She knows. Here she is. So, anyway, I I was a little bit at a loss as far as what I was going to talk about today. Um, and when I had gotten home last night, I thought, well, maybe I'll just change things up and maybe tell a funny story from back in my cab days. But after watching a couple of videos on MJ's channel, Soulful Revolution, um, I like, no, I really need to talk about, excuse me, what happened with me last night. It wasn't anything dangerous, nothing work related, or anything like that. Yeah, it's there are times when I can feel a little um, suspicious, a little paranoid, or what have you, but that's can be a good thing. Helps keep you out of danger. But and let's face it, I mean, basically we're pizza delivery people, So yeah, they can put you in some a little bit of precarious situations sometimes. So anyway, what happened with me last night? And it actually started as I was getting myself ready for work. Um, I was getting things ready and so forth, going through my usual routine, and all of a sudden, I don't know, I just started feeling funky. Not not anything having to do with what I've been through, but just kind of a really funky feeling. And I started feeling like I was in the process, I felt like I was starting to lose my memories. And I was just like, okay, this is weird. Um, I don't know how else to explain what I was feeling. See if I can. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. But I just felt like, I know I'm trying to hold this at the same time here. I'm sorry, folks. I felt like in some ways, I was kind of, she's like, okay, mom, whatever. Sorry. I just felt like like I said, maybe I was getting amnesia or something. I know, I've been through a lot of trauma here recently and so forth. So I was starting to have my concerns, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a very strong person, and everything, but everybody's going to have their breaking points too. And I was starting to wonder. Because aside from this, I've also got other things that are going on that I don't talk about and everything, and I'm just like, oh, crud, and I get into my breaking point. Is my brain just, you know, and I was wondering, or maybe chemical induced, with the medication that I was on, and then of course oxygen deprivation, everything combined. I was starting to wonder. But it was like I felt like what was happening is I felt like I had been sleepwalking for the longest time, and I'm finally waking up, and everything that I have experienced is more like an impression. It's like I was remembering it, but anytime I was trying to recall, any sort of details or what have you, like conversations or anything like that, I was getting massive headaches. I mean, real massive headaches. And I'm just like, I will admit, I was starting to get a little concerned. I'm like, okay, but I'm just keeping going. I felt like I was kind of like in autonomic mode, like when somebody who, has amnesia or whatever, they remember how to drive a car, stop at red lights, things like that that have been ingrained into, that I was kind of like in that mode, but I was feeling like there was certain things that I would think about, that I wasn't getting headaches on, but then there was other things where I was just like, "Oh my gosh, massive headaches." And I'm like, "What is going on?" And I had to go over and I left for work. I had to go over and get gas first. And this is just going on and on and on, and I'm just getting more and more massive headaches. And all of a sudden it dawned on me at some point when I was at the gas station. I don't remember what I was doing or anything. All of a sudden it occurred to me. I'm like, go on your calendar and double check the time of when that full moon was supposed to happen. And I did, and it was supposed to happen here at 6:26 p.m. local time, Pacific time. And I'm like, that's when it all started. Okay. So I'm just going with it and everything. And it happened at about 28 degrees Aquarius. The full moons always are in the opposite sign of whatever sun sign that we're in, because the moon is reflecting full light of the sun, back and everything. So that's why it's basically the opposite sign. And the opposite sign, right now we're in Leo season, opposite sign of Leo is Aquarius. So I'm just like, okay. And then there were some other things that happened, throughout the night, kind of insignificant and everything, but all played into each other. And I got home and I was just like, all right. But, I felt like what, I'll, I'll talk about that in a sec. So anyway, and I was also thinking of when I got home, I of course, had to eat dinner, take my insulins and so forth, and I usually will watch some show that I'm streaming or what have you, and just didn't feel like watching it. I didn't like, I'm just not in the mood. and I just ate and did a few things and went to bed. And then this morning I got up, with going through my usual routine that I usually do with my checking my social media accounts and playing some games to help wake my brain up, all this sort of stuff. Very last thing I usually do is I watch the morning message from Mary Jo over there on Soulful Revolution. And that message this morning, there were some things that came out, or basically where she was talking about needing to release things. Of course, there was overtone of a love relationship and so forth. But as far as but you can interpret that as self-love also. But she was talking about, like with releasing things and so forth. And I think it was in that mess. There was a couple of videos that I watched. It was that one and I couldn't understand it, but I was really drawn to needing to watch the Aries video. And I was just like, okay, this is weird. But I watched it, and with both of so I'm not too sure, where the messages came from. It's kind of a hodgepodge of everything, and it all came together with what was happening with me overnight last night. And after thinking about it, it all made sense as to the reason why I got was being called to watch the Aries video. Because of the fact, on the one hand, yeah, this was an Aquarian moon, but Aquarius, of course, like I just had said, Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo, which is the season that we're in right now. And with it being the moon, my moon sign is Libra, and the opposite sign of Libra is Aries. Okay, got it. And of my Lilith, um, which is basically the darkest point of the moon, um, when at the time that in place and so forth of your birth, um, is in Aquarius. I don't remember which house. I think it's seventh house. So I'm just like, okay, this is all making sense to me now. Why I need to watch that video. So anyway, yeah, I know sometimes the messages coming in can be pretty cryptic, unfortunately. So anyway, yeah, I'm watching all of this and thinking about what I went through last night and everything and how I'm feeling as a result of it and everything. If you watched yesterday's video, I made mention about about how we all have baggage, whether we like it or not, and it's basically all of our dark side and so on and so forth. And unless you're actually dropped down here, with a clean slate with absolutely no past, then yeah, we all have baggage. Well, that's exactly how I felt what was happening with me last night. What came through, because if like I said, it was like there was things when I was trying to think about, trying to recall certain memories or what have you, and I was getting massive headaches. Like, don't think about that. But then there was other things I was thinking about, things that uh maybe, like for instance, Possum. I would think about her, no headache. Okay. And there were some other things too, of course. Um, and I now know, especially after watching those videos, with as far as the release and so forth is concerned, I was being shown where my starting point is now. What it's okay for me to take with me from this point forward, and what it's okay for me to leave behind. Yeah. Mhm. It was like, "Okay, well, you, could have done this a different way." But I guess they took the suggestion. "Hey, you know what? That sounds like a good idea." Kinda, actually, I just thought of it, like Miracle on not the Miracle on 34th Street, but, It's a Wonderful Life, when George Bailey there, um, kinda towards the end with, what was his guardian angel's name? Clarence? I think that was his name. Um he comes down, basically saves George from killing himself, and George is like, you know, I wish I was never born, and oh no, don't say that, and this and that, and everything, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, yeah, that's actually a good idea. Show you what it would be if you were never born. Yeah, kind of the same thing, only yeah, as far as, "Oh, okay, you made this statement. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and drop you down here with a clean slate." Okay. So, basically, in many ways, being shown, um, what my path is, where, it's okay for me to it's okay for me to leave things behind, and what it is that I can it's okay for me to take with. So, um, yeah, that was very it was very beautiful for me, especially with after, what I have seen, in the mirror staring back at me and so forth. It's like, yeah, I get it all now. I get it. I get the messages that have been um, coming through and everything. So, yeah, pretty amazing. I don't want to use the words strange or weird, or even though it's obviously, yeah, it goes against all convention, all conventional way of thinking and so forth. But and I know, of course, I know that a lot of people out there are like, okay, yeah, she's batshit crazy. I'll admit that's something that I have wrestled with in the past with going through this spiritual journey. Um, it's like, yeah, this is just not kosher or whatever, But yeah, just I have wrestled with those feelings in the past and everything. But the one thing that somebody it's actually my best friend who told me this with talking about it all with her in the past. She's just like, if you're questioning your sanity, that means that you're not insane. Like, yeah, you're right. Oh, and of course, I know a lot of people too. They'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. It's all subconscious. You knew subconsciously the moon, so obviously you're tampering into, tapping into that. Of course, I know people are gonna be making make any sort of excuses and so forth to basically protect their own minds. Um, uh, I don't want to use I, basically their own egos, but not ego as in, ew, I had, look at me, nothing like that. Okay. You know, um, just their own peace of mind, basically, which is fine, to each their own. I'm just sharing my experience, um, partly for my own peace of mind, get it out in the open, um, and also to for people who are going through similar experiences, who are going down the spiritual path and having not so kosher experiences, where everything is going against the conventional ways of thinking. Um, and to let you all know, you're not alone. Yeah, we all go through it. We all go through it. Um, so, um, the way I look at it is I have, along my spiritual journey, I have had to overcome quite a few doubts and so forth. And of course, people will be like, well, how do you know? And it goes back to what I've actually been talking about for the last few days: trust. Trust. Not necessarily trust in out there, trusting in, 5D, spirit, God, Jesus, whatever it is that you believe in, basically that faith or whatever. It's not that. I'm talking about the trust in here, the trust that you have for yourself. And that's where that self-love comes in as well. So anyway, I hope this helps some people along their journey as well. It definitely has with mine. And I was also shown last night where I am as far as physically is concerned. With things that are going on in here. Yeah, I've made huge leaps and bounds. And it's funny because after I had been in the hospital and I was pretty much cleared out, but I was still dealing with all of, pressure in my chest and the tightening of the muscles and so forth. I kept telling my GP, I'm just like, I just feel like I need physical therapy. But things that I was trying wasn't working. So I was trying to see about seeking out ex, ex, expert help, for some guidance. And unfortunately, I kept running into brick walls and going, of course, right back to my uh, Lilith sign, that freedom and independence. I had to figure it out on my own, like I always do. It's the way it's always been for me. So, and what I'm doing is working. It is helping. And I was shown last night where I'm at with that. I had gotten in during all this that was going on, with me feeling like I was losing my mind, losing my identity or whatever. All of a sudden, I got a notification in about a message request from my Instagram account, where somebody was trying to request to send me a message. And I knew automatically that it was a scammer. And I didn't read it initially. It wasn't until a little bit later, when I had an opportunity. I had a little bit of a long haul going up the freeway before I was going to have to get off at an exit. And I'm just like, well, let me just, and traffic wasn't bad or anything. So I'm like, well, let me just open this up real quick and take a look at it. I died laughing. It was so hilarious. This person, they were trying to act like that they were a native English speaker, bad punctuation, bad grammar, and so I'm just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have read worse, but it was just like, yeah, okay. And instead of, and that was the thing too, because they referred to me as, they said, hello, miss. And it's like, you can't even bother to at least insert the person's name. It's like, hello, Valerie. You could have at least done that. Or at least, a lot of people call me Miss Val. And it's just something that's been my whole adult life, basically. And I actually love it because to me, it takes me back to my Southern roots. But it's like, at least call me Miss Val. Even though I hate being called Val. But at the same, I don't mind being called Miss Val. But it was just like, okay, if you're gonna say hello, Miss, at least say hello, Miss Val. Come on. It floored me. The whole thing just floored me, and I got a really good belly laugh with that, and it was awesome because on the one hand, I was able to do that for the first time in a while without coughing and hacking and being in pain and so on and so forth. But I'll admit afterwards, like right here with the airway passages, it was like, okay, they definitely got irritated. I still feel it right here. I did a little massaging just before jumping up on here. But it was just like, yeah, I was shown where I'm at too. So, and I'm able to better identify, explain to the doctor even more, you know, um, the individual things. And hopefully, yeah, of course, I'm going to be keeping that appointment and getting the testing done and so on and so forth. But yeah, at least, I can be like, okay, this is what is going on. All right. Even more so than before. Individual things that are all contributing to the same problem. So, but in the meantime, yeah, I'm keeping going with everything and basically being religious about it. I'm about to go in and do my yoga stretches. Those have been improved immensely. I'm very proud of the improvements that I have made with those, um, especially the ones where I'm targeting my chest area. Because when I was first doing them, I'm a big fan of doing things in sets. So like holding something for like maybe 5 seconds or something like that, and but doing that in sets of certain amounts. Usually, it's sets of five is what I usually do. But no, I'm actually initially when I was doing them, I was barely able to hold for 5 seconds, barely, and it was like maybe one or two sets, but then I was able to get up to the 5 sets, and then I was able to increase the amount of time that I was holding, and I'm up to like 15 seconds. So that's what, 75 seconds. I think that's pretty damn good, especially in the short amount of time that I've been doing them. So it may not seem like a lot, especially with the one that I had found up online. They said to hold it for like 30 seconds total, and I'm doing basically 15 seconds, 5 sets of 15 seconds, so that's 75 seconds. Hey, I don't think that's too shabby as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, I've been making some great improvements with that. Afterwards, I usually hit the essential oil mixture, uh, put that on, and I also make sure, of course, I get up in here, so I'm breathing in the vapors a little bit more also. I've hardly have any inflammation here in the base of my trachea anymore. It's just going to be a matter of, keeping working these muscles. And of course, I'm laying on my acupressure mat and pillow as well. I did have to lay down for a little bit after doing it last night. I got a little woozy again, but I was a lot calmer. It was just more of a, okay, I just need a little cat nap here. And it was like I fell asleep for like maybe 20 minutes, and it was just like, boop, okay, let's go. So, but yeah, it's just going to be a matter of keep targeting these muscles, so that way they're not putting pressure or putting strain, not pressure, but strain on the airway passages. So just keep doing that, you know, um, and then see what the doctor has for suggestions. I'm going to be a little weary about any sort of medications, that's for sure. Um, I'm going to do my homework on him. Anything, if he does, he, she, I'm not even too sure the name of the doctor that I'm seeing. I just have the address. That's about it. I have no idea who it is I'm seeing. Um, but whatever they suggest, of course, I'm going to be asking, I'm going to explain to them what happened just with the antihistamine, um, and be like, "Hey, look, my body is very sensitive to stuff, so we're gonna have to be able to work around this with possible not adding chemicals." That's one of the reasons why I go organic a lot with most things, because I just don't want to be adding those pesticides into my body, and then I'm having to be fighting all that as well. So, um, adding chemicals on top of chemicals on top of chemicals. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So, anyway, So, yeah, I'm glad I got this out. I'm glad I got this out in the open. So, I hope that you all are having a great day. I hope that your full moon, because we're going to be in the energy of this, and that's the thing too. There's also a lot of other things that are happening in the astrological arena as well. Some um, aspects basically happening, retrogrades and so forth too. So it's kind of an active week this week, um, astrologically. So, anywho, I better let you go before my timer runs out. All right, I love you all. I'll talk to you all soon.